just want to say I looked super scholarly with these new glasses on, and I had to bring up
that
the
with
glasses.
the glasses.
3 seconds in.
The glasses, your Thea in the background, and the poster that says "Dream." Yeah, you're a freaking professor.
He's just leveled up his like. Like people, I think Devon. They're like, oh yeah, he's an all right guy, and then now like nothing matters about what Keelan and I say anymore. This is what he's gonna be doing the whole time.
No.
I just buckle up for the glasses comments.
These glasses have made me into a stealth bomber. Like, they're gonna think some like super smart, sophisticated dude is coming up and talking to them, when really it's just me, and I'm just a psychotic troll.
Hang on,
and
I have to get something.
Uh-oh, he's going to get a prop.
He's gonna go get his glasses.
This is serious. He's getting a prop now.
Ooh, thick booty.
I wonder what he's gonna come back with. Ooh, he's coming back in with. What does he got? Sorry, I'm just talking it through for the listeners so they know what's happening.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What does he have?
See, there he is.
His glasses.
See, okay, so when Devon got his glasses, he came by the day he got them, and I'm like, you really look like someone. And it was bothering me for so long. I'm like, I don't know who the heck you look like. Yes, and then eventually I was like, you look like Keelan with his glasses on.
That's hilarious.
It bothered me for so. I was just sitting there staring at him. Like, who do you look like? But it's because you guys literally have the exact same glasses, pretty much.
Are yours purple too, Devon?
Purple?
Yeah.
No.
Are yours purple? Oh, mine are purple.
Why were you so offended by that?
Mine are black.
Bro,
okay.
Did you just say
Mine are-
purple? Ew.
You just say
Purple? That's disgusting.
Let me just open this drawer and vomit.
Oh, man.
Great. Now my top drawer is just filled with vomit.
Well, welcome to the Dilemma Dudes podcast. My name is Noah.
My name is Devon.
My name is Devon.
Perfect. Killed it. Now we just keep going. Nothing
Just kidding. I'm Keelan. Don't forget who I am.
Yeah.
Don't forget about me. Well, today we have
Don't you.
Some fan questions. We sent out the summons for people to send us their dilemmas and general questions about us and some scenarios. Yes, Devon.
Noah, really quick before you keep going, I just want to do a huge shout out to the Dilemma Dudes fan page.
Oh, yeah.
They're on it with the new episodes, and they've been killing it with the promo.
We would
Dilemma Dudes
very
fan page,
genuinely
special place
like
in
to
all
know
of
who
our
you
hearts.
are.
We have no idea.
But at the same time, please don't tell us. Please don't tell us. We have
I was
no
like, but
clue.
at the same time, I don't care who you
I
are.
love the mystery of it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm waiting for one of us to just say it's a practical joke and one of us made it, but I really don't think it was.
I 100%. The reason
It's not me. You know I would take credit for that,
thought it was
right?
Devon because the first, like when we first got the notification, I clicked on it and the profile picture was Devon's like picture from like I think the first episode.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's gotta be Devon just being a weirdo. So I texted the group chat and Noah was like, no, I guess Devon, I don't know, you were doing something. So it like took you a while before you were like, nope, not me.
I feel like it's got to be one of.
And I asked the only friend.
Keep going.
I asked the friend that I thought it was.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, freaking maniac.
It's like,
And I asked his brother, and it's not him either.
part of my
What? Like,
part
it's-
of my
But hey,
whole
hey, hey.
being just like is like, who is it?
Hey, but this goes directly out to the Dilemma Dudes fan page.
Yeah.
If you want a good profile picture, just take this one.
Actually, just take a
There
picture
you
of
go.
Brady and Devon
Just
and morph
yoink it off
together.
YouTube.
Well, yeah, we definitely got to change our. I just need glasses, and then we got to update our cover art,
don't
which we were
you
talking
have
about
glasses?
doing. No, I don't.
Why in my brain have I always pictured you with
He eats
glasses
too many
at
carrots
some
for
point?
that.
I've probably taken like back when I was 14 or 15. I remember having some fake glasses, and they're probably on my Instagram. So
Okay, maybe that's it.
He just popped the lenses out of 3D glasses.
No,
Glasses.
I'll have to. Okay, so next episode, I'm logging on with some glasses. I'll get some from somewhere. and then we gotta retake.
Please just
we gotta
sunglasses.
retake our cover art pictures, because then we throw that up. Like you see the three guys talking about moral dilemmas. Well, I need to hear what these geniuses have to say about that.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, it's like the 3 Albert Einsteins.
Yeah. Oh, the Dilemma Dudes fan page. We don't know who you are. It's completely anonymous, but it's the most amazing marketing scheme, by the way. That's why I was like, take it.
It is.
Yeah,
It honestly, it surprised me because I was like, we're only 8 episodes in. Who could possibly love us this much?
Yeah, what do we
give us
average? Like
Other
like
than-
60 viewers.
Wait,
which is
Noah,
pretty
you should
decent,
ask
but-
if it's your grandma.
It's one of my many lovers.
What if it's Noah's grandma?
Okay, first
She
off.
doesn't use Instagram. I
First
don't think
off.
she would know how.
First off, do you think any of our grandparents know how to use Instagram? Okay, can I tell a story really quick?
Yeah.
Can I tell a
No.
story?
Please.
Okay, sorry, sure.
So when I was like 13, 14, only like a couple years into doing like live theater, only done a couple. Actually, I want to say this was just after Aladdin, so I might have been like 15 at the time. Anyway,
Aladdin
doesn't
like
matter.
in the lot?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I get a package in the mail. And it's a t-shirt. I don't even remember what the t-shirt was. And it says, from Devon's fan club. From Devon Humphries fan club. And I'm like, excuse me? And as a 14-year-old moron, I was like, ah! I rip it open. It's a t-shirt. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. And then I noticed the return address was just my grandparents' house in Mississauga.
You were so excited.
Don't get me wrong, it was pretty awesome. Like that's a hilarious prank / nice thing to do.
Your brain didn't
from
go, what have I
grandparents.
done?
But-
Like, who is it? Like, what have I done to deserve this? Your brain automatically went, oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yo, that's cool. It's obviously my
Yeah,
fan
exactly. And the thing was I didn't even notice. It was my mom who picked up the package. Went as she recognized the address, because
That's
I
a
didn't
moral
recognize
dilemma
it,
right there.
obviously.
Like, do you tell your kid in that moment?
Yeah.
She told.
Yeah, of course she did. I think all of our parents would tell us. They don't want our egos getting big. We don't have those
Yeah.
kind of parents that are like trying to raise our egos through the roof. If anything, they're trying to do the opposite. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into our fan
do it.
questions. Some dilemmas, some questions
Ooh,
about
fans.
us. I know we have so many fans, guys. We had to comb through and pick just only the best questions.
Yeah, sorry guys. If yours didn't make it in, just keep resubmitting it. and
To be
we'll get
honest, if
it
yours
eventually.
didn't make it in, it's because we didn't see it. Because pretty much everyone is.
It's because you were too late. So we'll see it next week then.
Yeah, but we'll say this before we get into it. We have our Google Forms, which is linked wherever you're watching this podcast.
Yeah.
It's in our Instagram bio. There you can always send us feedback, send us different dilemmas, and we'll talk about them most definitely, unless they're just horribly disgusting.
Yeah.
When we
And
probably won't.
now send us.
Yeah, unless
send
you're
us,
suck,
Send us would you
honestly.
rather's. Also send us some conspiracy theories if you have any really
Yeah.
good ones.
Yeah. We want to hear about all of them. But let's start with some dilemmas from our Google Forms.
Heck yeah.
So this first one, the question was really simple, and it's a good question. So I'll start with that, but then I also think we'll have to build in it a little bit. So like I added some things to further the conversation. But the question was, would you want full creative control of an artistic project? If that's not enough, I'll tell you.
Is there an or to this? Sorry,
Yeah.
is there an or to this or no? Is that
Okay, so here's what I said. I said with full creative control, you reap all the benefits, money, praise, etc. But it takes more time. But you don't have any dilemmas involving other people, so you're completely free. You never have to argue with anyone. And it can be a simpler process, right? However, the
You'll
quality,
get your way the whole time, pretty much.
yeah, you get your way the whole time.
Okay.
But however, I said the quality of the final project will be a little bit worse. Or with shared creative control, you share the benefits, so you share money, you share praise. More time is spent discussing and planning, but less time actually working because you have more people. So once you actually start working, it can be quicker. But there, of course, will be more dilemmas along the way. However, the final project will probably be better. So like, what do you prefer? I feel like that kind of extends the question a bit.
Yeah.
I hope whoever submitted this question that isn't what you were thinking, but I think that's what you're getting at.
Honestly, if like for me, I think this is kind of a no-brainer for me. I definitely would not want full creative control. No. Don't get me wrong. I can be a little bit of a control freak sometimes. But once you get full creative control over a project, especially like some sort of art project that needs to involve, like I'm thinking specifically like a stage show, TV show, anything like that, even as something as simple as a podcast, without other people's input, if they're just just mindless drones doing whatever you say, like you're missing out on a ton of creative input that could, and I'd argue definitely improve the final
100%.
product. I don't really care if I get all the money and the glory. I don't really care. I just want the thing to be good.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? I think it also depends on, with full creative control, does it mean you don't take any input? Like, are you still willing to listen to input, but ultimately you have the final decision? I think with like this is it depends on the situation. There's certain things where I think it's effective for one person to have full creative control, but then I also think that there's times when it's not effective. And I like with a theater show, you have people that take control of certain aspects, but there's always is one last person that usually has the final say. And in theater, that would it depends the situation, but sometimes it could be a producer, where it's like the director technically has creative control, but if there's ever a problem, the producer can veto anything, right? Yeah. So in situations like that, if I was a director, I'd be like, hey, no, I actually kind of do want full creative control, because you vetoing that could ruin my whole entire vision. But then also there's situations where full creative control can, like Devon said, you can miss out on tons of other opportunities by just being so caught up that only your ideas can possibly be the best, right?
Because I'm thinking in a situation like if we were to start our own theater company or something, we would technically have full creative control until we brought in a choreographer, a music director, and something like that. But those are people who would make it better, because I can't music direct.
Exactly.
I can't choreograph. I can dance, but I can't choreograph, right? Like there are aspects of creativity and art in general that need that like outside input or the outside help to become a better have a better outcome.
Yeah. I'll be honest that with most creative projects that I crave taking on, like I don't crave to take on anything completely alone, because even when you do reap all the benefits, you're like, oh, so like for me, if there's things that I would say, like I haven't done many creative projects where I felt like I had full creative control, but the few that I've done is like more recently getting into like video editing or photography. That's completely your full creative control. You're the only one sitting down doing it. You have the final say. I'm posting it on my own social media. But like it doesn't feel the same when like people were like, oh, that's super cool, and you're like, yeah, cool, whatever. I have no one to share that with. Whereas like when you work with something on someone, or sorry, work on something with someone, like we obviously all three of us have worked together.
When you work on somebody with something,
when you, all three of us have done a lot of work together, and with other people and stuff, and there's times where like let's say with Yikes shows, there's times where it sucks like working with other people, where you're like, I have this specific vision of what I want, and someone else has a specific vision of what they want. Because usually people come into something, especially with strong creative personalities, everyone has a very specific vision. But I think so that can be a really hard thing to overcome, is finding your vision, like not accepting that it's not going to be completely your own vision. But with Yikes, we always said one of the best things, and if everyone was cool with this, is that those two visions merge into one, and then it creates this like ultra vision, which is what
a lot of
happens,
times.
Right?
Go ahead, Devon.
Well, and that's the thing I find is like in my head when I first gave my answer, I was thinking more along the lines of, I have full creative control, everything's my responsibility, I come up with literally everything.
Yeah.
Where now we're kind of diverging onto, you're the boss, you say what goes, or it's more of a partnership with maybe 1, 2, 3 other people. I kind of agree with what Noah's saying. When you've partnered with somebody, again, I don't really care if, like, don't get me wrong, everybody loves when someone goes, oh my gosh, Devon, like that thing that you did, amazing. Everyone loves that. But I don't really care. That's not the goal. And I would much rather have 1, 2, 3 people to share the victory of the project we did than get praise. And honestly, the pros of working with people, especially like when we're talking about Yikes or a directed a show together, or even just being in a cast with other people, you're not even really in charge. The pros of being able to bounce off the creative ideas and being able to share that victory, it, in my opinion, superbly outweighs the cons of maybe ideas clashing. Because let's be honest, 99.99999% of the time when ideas clash, you come to some sort of compromise, and that compromise generally is better than either of those ideas left alone.
Yeah, right. And I guess it depends with who you're working with, right? Like when you're in a creative environment where everyone like doesn't have this ego, where like obviously there's always going to be times, like I'll admit I try and say I don't have an ego, but there's times where it still hurts, like when your idea isn't accepted. But it's just like
totally.
how quick can you get over that, right?
Yeah.
And how quick can you be okay to compromise? And that's something that
and realize
we're
it's not
learning,
personal.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
And realize it's not personal against
sometimes
you. It's not screw you. No, I hate your idea.
It's not personal until it is personal. Like sometimes it can be personal. Like I'll be honest,
but most of the time it's not.
Sometimes you go into like a creative project with blinders on. If you're working with other people, you're like, I have this great idea. It's the idea we're going to go with. We're going to run with it. Go. This is it. The other people are on the outside noticing that won't work with this. This won't work with this part, or blah, blah, blah. Like this clashes with this, or maybe this doesn't fit the idea that we're going with, or something like that. It's way better to have people on the outside saying that, and you being able to, take your ego down a notch and go, okay, cool, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it takes those people to help you see those problems and those like issues with what your blindness is like. Folks, it's focused on like this little pinpoint, and they're going, yeah, but there's this whole landscape.
And that totally goes for whether you are in full creative control, aka the producer or director of a show, or you're in a 100% equal creative like partnership, kind of like what Yikes is now, or this podcast or things like that, where it's like 100% equal. No one's like in charge. That goes for both, right?
The things that I loved about writing like sketches and stuff with you guys is because it's like one of us will have this great idea and we'll pitch it. It's not just that person's idea anymore. I mean, like we'll throw it out there, and all of us will jump on top of it with this and this and this and this. And most of the time it builds it and makes it into an awesome sketch or an awesome idea, something like that. Where if one of us was like, I have this idea, and we tried to pile on, and you put up like a friggin' force field.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's my idea.
Then we'd step back and go, okay, cool, then just do it on your own then.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
exactly.
If you don't want our help, then you're not going to get it.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing with creative projects, and why I'm thinking of like certain directors, like big movie directors, where you hear like, no, they come in to a movie, they feed the lines to the actors, like they have such a specific vision, and sometimes their work can be really great. Like I know like Quentin Tarantino can be like that. I've heard like he comes in there, this is his vision, and obviously it's worked really, really well for him.
He's also a weird guy, so like
that can also make certain people hard to work with. So I'm like, it's true, your movie turned out great, but like if no one likes to work with you, I don't know if that's the case with Quentin Tarantino.
I think there are definitely certain people that I've heard that will be like, worked with him, it was an awesome experience, probably won't do it again.
Yeah, because it
Stuff
wasn't
like that.
When you're as an actor or something, or anyone working on a creative project, when you don't feel like you actually had a part in it, it's like not that satisfying. Like
I feel like being an actor has almost trained us to be able to I mean, not almost, it's trained us to be able to take these criticisms and other people's ideas and involve them in our own, because that's what our job is. We come into a scene with, okay, this is the idea I have of my character and what my character would do, having read the scene, a while ago. Go into it, and then it's the director's job to go, okay,
throw all of that away.
throw all of it, or go, I love what you did, try this, you know, like, so I feel like as actors that has like almost helped us like become better creative directors and like become creative collaborators, I guess is another word.
And I'm gonna say something like mildly controversial. The arts is naturally just doing anything artistic by nature is mildly arrogant. Assuming that we're important enough and interesting enough to do a podcast, pretty arrogant.
That's why it's mind-boggling that we have a fan page.
but like that goes for literally anything artistic, and it's kind of a catch-22. It's because if you want to do something artistic, you've got to be mildly arrogant to a certain extent. And I know a lot of people don't like to think of themselves that way. Let's be honest, we all are. Normal humans are, let alone theatrical humans. But then it also takes an incredible amount of humility as someone, especially if you're the person who has, going back to the original question, full creative control. It's an incredible amount of humility to go, oh, hey, Bob Joe, I realized what you said about the scene was better, and I now want to do it that way. My initial idea wasn't so good, and your way of putting it was better.
Yeah.
Or even just going, you know what? I'll take half of that.
Yeah.
I'll let you influence my project.
That's why I always kind of get like, not upset, but kind of irked when I hear directors talk about just like batting down their actors' ideas. Because the director, yes, has creative control on a certain level, but a director's job is still collaborating with your actors, right? Like your actors are artists as well. Your choreographer, your music director, your set design they're all artists. So it's a huge collaborative thing. Unless you were doing a one-man show that you wrote, that you directed, that you built the set for, you built the costumes for, you did all the music for, like, unless you're doing that, sure, full control. But if you're not doing that, I mean, the only thing that I can like use to compare a full control director in a full team is a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And how did that turn out?
Those don't really have a good track record.
No.
Yeah, so
Guys,
I'd say ultimately with like this whole creative control thing is that it depends on the situation. I think as a creative person, it's nice, like I said, to have outlets where you have full creative control. So like if every creative person is like, if you're finding in a work environment that you just cannot handle not having like complete control, then you should probably figure out some kind of outlet. So for me, I would say that
or something like that.
yeah, like I was like, okay, when I started getting into video stuff and video editing, it was like a really satisfying thing to like sit in front of a computer and you're like, I can make this exactly how I want it to be. Like that's why I'm like, oh, I like to edit just for fun, because I'm like, that's just, I don't know, it just satisfies me. But when it comes to like theater or like you're working on a film, like it has to be a collaborative process.
Oh, it has to be.
I think it's still
like,
important that you might have someone that is in charge.
Well, that's the thing. It's creative control is different than like getting the last say. Like as a director, especially on like a theater production, you are collaborating with, 50 people in a room, and then, but someone, brings something to you. The set designer brings this set design to you. You can say, I like this, this, and this. Can we tweak that? That is your obligation as a director to do that, because it is your name on the pay. Like their names is on it too, but it's your name in bold. But that is different than creative control.
Yeah, in my opinion, when you're having full creative control, is that there's you basically just, if you have a set designer, if you have an actor, it's just, hey, this is exactly how it's going to be. You're just going to do this.
And if you
I don't think necessarily creative control means that you have the final say, I guess. Like maybe there could still be someone that could be like veto, whatever. But I think full creative control means it's not at all a collaborative process.
Yeah.
Which, in my personal opinion, as less painful as it might be, I think the product will always be better if it's a collaborative process.
I know, like when I've listened to some like people that have started creative type businesses, or even just YouTubers that are like, they finally decide to get an editor or something, and they say it's just the hardest thing in the universe. because
To, like,
giving,
let
like
go
I
of that
said,
kind of-
editing is this amazing experience where you just have
Yeah.
so much control, and then to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just let someone else edit my videos now. Like
The
that.
nice thing about that,
step
though,
is
is
crazy.
majority of the time that person has studied your videos and will try and adapt your editing style as best as possible.
Yeah, so that's what they eventually come to, right? Is you find someone that like has your style down pat, and usually when you hire an editor, they're going to be a lot better of an editor than you.
Yeah, because they've probably gone to school for
Yeah.
it, or they've been doing it for longer
Exactly.
than you have. Or
They're, like
right?
if you're hiring an editor that's literally just an editor, they're going to be
Yeah.
pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
They better
you're giving up so much of your style and your control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we
I would
agree that it's always better to be a collaborative process.
Yeah.
But there's
I would
obviously
say
times where
as an actor, I agree, Devin, that you say like every creative person has a little bit of that like egotistical side to them.
100%.
I would say that being able to get over that and to allow other people to collab with you and to allow like the first time you do that and you kind of give up some of that control in a way and say, hey, this is what I want to do, you're 100% your project's going to be way better.
And I think for creative people in general, again, I'm just a moron on the internet who doesn't actually know what he's talking about. But
could just left it at a moron. We would have been fine.
well, of course. But I had to keep going because of the
The glasses.
Oh wait, I took mine off.
But I think like the biggest hurdle for, I think, in my personal opinion, almost anyone creatively is just getting over themselves.
Yeah. Totally.
I think that's like the biggest hurdle across the board for anybody.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get over yourself, as soon as you go, hey, this is not about me, this is about the project. If you worry about the project looking good, and then the project will make you look good, then you already win.
Yeah, I think always ultimately with creative projects, like I remind myself when you're working in a team, you all have the exact same goal. Like unless there is situations where you're working with someone that that literally just only wants their ideas to be in. But for the most part, I'd say with 99% of the people you work with, you all want the same goal of making an awesome show.
Yeah.
So it's just like remembering when you're having those intense conversations maybe with someone that you're like, okay, let's just sit down for a second. Like, why do you think this will be the best choice? And why do I think this will be the best choice? And let's find a middle ground or something. Or let's find like
the hardest
I can
part,
say I'm wrong or
I was say the hardest part about that, this brings me back to casting a show. Hardest part is when you feel super strongly about something and you're trying to be the collaborative director and you're like, I get why you want that other person as this role, but oh my goodness, I need this person at that role instead. And there has to be a compromise in there somewhere, right?
That's scenarios where it's like you want that full creative control. Like I've definitely had moments where I'm like, no, 100%. Like every part of me, like it's hurting how bad I think this is the right choice. And then you're like, please, I just need 100%. Like just trust me here. So that's when I'm like, I can totally say there is certain situations where 100% I want full creative control. Because I feel so strongly about it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying we had our callbacks for a show the day before the roles were put out. Ooh. So we had our callbacks and literally we went to a restaurant and we were there for 3 hours. I would say one of those hours was giving like essays on why either of us wanted this person in a role. It was just one of those moments where like I think both of us got to a point where it was just like, okay, fine, you win. And then both of us said, and we were like, oh my goodness.
No.
But like, kind of like what Noah said, where it's like, he knows what the right choice is and he wants it so bad it hurts.
Yeah.
The problem is the other person thinks that too.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other person is looking at you going, what are you, an idiot? This is the obvious choice. I want it so much it hurts.
That's when I said there is always someone with the final word typically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I think that's the nice thing about being the director in that moment was to just go, no. I'm gonna say choice. Who edited it.
Yeah.
It's that fine line.
As that is.
Like also as a
trying
director,
to say it and not.
As a lone director, like I know when Devon and I directed a show, we were co-directing, so it was a little bit different. But as a lone director, like ultimately you do have creative control, but of course there's times where it could still be vetoed. But in most situations, you do get the final say. Well, and unless you're an absolutely garbage person, you're not always going to choose your choice as the final say.
But, yeah, exactly.
But that's something that I noticed. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when you and me co-directed together, Noah, I thought we would disagree a lot more than we actually did.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna have a lot harder of a problem. Like when we were done all of our auditions, and I looked at my book, and I looked over at yours, we had almost the exact same people, minus one person.
Yeah. It's,
Like,
it's
almost
interesting,
entirely.
though, because you guys had, like, we've all been working together creatively in one way or another for years. So that's probably part of that is even though you know that both of you have different directing styles, you both know the same amount of things about what you wanted. Like, you'd already talked about your vision for the show. So you guys were already on the same page, and so you were able to see the same things in casting.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same with like me and Adam. A lot of, like, we same thing. Even though he was the choreographer and I was the director, a lot of our page was the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also helps we have a lot of the same experience too, right?
Exactly.
We all went to similar places where we got our experience, aka like moving art, KCP, SST. Like, we all went similar places where we learned a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
So we learned the same. I don't know if etiquette's the right word. I don't think it is. The same, like instincts, the same
Process.
kind of ticks that we gravitate towards. Like, me and Noah have talked about it so much. Like, we hardcore gravitate towards good attitude, good vibe, because that will just make the entire show
100%.
better.
100%.
Yeah. I would always say, like, even if someone was the most talented person, but they just had that wrong vibe, like, I'm sorry, it's just gonna mess with everyone. As an audience member, you can sense when someone like an actor just has a bad vibe. Like, I've seen shows where I'm like, they're an amazing actor, but like, I can just tell they're a
They think
douchebag.
they're the best. They think they're the best in the world.
Yeah, and it just makes me like, I'm like, yeah, I can't even like their character, even if their character is supposed to be the likable one. Like smug people always come across smug, no matter how hard they try to cover it up.
That reminds me, casting a show and having this girl come in. She sang well, danced. She was a good dancer, and we were kind of doing the dance portion. And we were doing tumbling, so she did her little tumbling thing and went to the back of the line because we were letting them do it 2 or 3 times. And the girl at the front of the line was a little bit nervous, and so we're like, just take your time, classic director thing, just take your time whenever you're ready.
No problem.
Show me what you got. And this girl started like trying to like tell her like what she should do, because the girl was like, I don't know what I should do, like I can do this, and this, and the other girl tried to tell her what to do. And both me and Adam just looked at each other and we were just like, nope, not happening. Not having that.
That's
the thing. It's vibes, right?
Yeah.
I've been looking at like business videos. I'm thinking I'm going to school for business. And one of the things, and this really applies to auditions, and one of the things they talk about is like
getting
it's
glasses
incredibly,
so you look smarter.
First off, yes. But it's incredibly unrealistic and impossible to expect yourself as the employer, aka director, to be able to make a snap judgment on somebody's character in 30 seconds to a minute, even 5 whole minutes, which on an audition is incredibly long.
Yeah,
it's impossible. Like, how are you supposed to, like, unless it's like blatantly obvious, like they come in and they're like, sup bitches, and then they walk in and they're like, right? Like, how are you supposed to know?
He's like flexing the whole time.
If that
happened,
I'd literally just be like, all right, before we begin, you can get out.
Yeah. Like it's impossible to know.
Yeah.
Unless you have a personal prior experience, because you don't want to listen to gossip 9 times out of 10 unless it's like really from a really trusted source. Mm-hmm. So how are you supposed to know if someone walks in? How are you supposed to make a snap judgment on their entire character? I'm even putting skill out of it. Like skill is a whole nother ball game. But I make a snap judgment on their entire character as a human being and go, I want to work with you specifically.
Yeah.
Or the opposite. I don't like you.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I think that's why it's super important to have whoever's running your like front room, whoever's running your sign-in, to have a notepad with them. To be
Just
able to
hardcore judging people.
Oh, 100%. They're the
At this point, you're not even judging
secret
their
agent.
talent. You're just straight up judging their personalities.
But that's the thing is
2
you're
out of
judging
10
their
personality right here.
but you have to take their talent out of the world. You know, like great dancer, great. You have to weigh that between how do they act with other people, right? Like how do they treat other actors, other artists? So in turn, how are they going to treat me as a director?
Yeah.
It's the same
Especially
thing.
when,
No, go
like,
ahead.
let's be honest, we're young people.
Yeah,
So, especially when it comes to people that could be older than us, people that could be double our age.
yeah,
Let's be honest, triple our age. Like, how are they going to treat me as a director
Right.
when they have much more life experience and they are double my age? Are they going to take what I say and roll with it? Are they going to roll with the punches? Or are they going to turn up their nose and just kind of do whatever they think is best?
I've been in
Right?
too many situations in shows where I've come in. It's an adult cast, and the cast members have tried to either tell me what to do, or yeah, like they'll take me aside and be like, "I think you should do this instead," and I'm like, "The director literally just told me what I was gonna do." One, that's so rude. And two, if you have an idea, take it to the director. If you don't trust your director enough to take your suggestion, even if it's not for your character, to take a suggestion you have and think about it. If you don't trust your director to do that, you shouldn't be an actor.
Yeah. See, that's so
Yeah.
that's another thing. Devin and I had this conversation when I think we were traveling. We talked about the difference between someone just wanting to be in charge and someone wanting to be in control.
Yes.
And to me, it's a very we talked about this for a long time.
Very different. Very different.
I think it was a pretty, and it wasn't like we weren't arguing, but it was a very intense conversation about how
We're both passionate.
the people we were talking,
Yeah.
we were just talking about that want to pull you aside, that want to tell someone what to do. They're people that just want to be in charge. They want to look important, right? And then there's people, like I'd say for the 3 of us, I don't think any of us crave leadership or crave like attention. Like I wouldn't say any of us are like, oh, I need to be in charge because I want, or I need to be in control because I want attention. I want everyone to
Right.
praise me.
I would say
Whereas
once
all of
upon
us,
a
I'd
time,
say,
probably all of us did, but
Yeah,
like when we were a kid.
yeah. But we all want like I know me especially, like I don't crave being in charge, but I definitely crave like having a semblance of control. So whether
Yeah.
that means like I'm close with the person in charge, so like I know what's going on. Like I don't like to be like one of the people. I mean, if it's an environment like when I'm at work, and I'm not saying I'm not invested in my job, but like when I'm at work, I don't necessarily care about all the decision making. I'm just like, cool, I'm gonna show up, gonna do my job. But when it's something I really care about, it's like when I'm doing a show, whatever. If I'm an actor, I don't necessarily care, but if I'm like on the crew, I want to have some kind of like idea of what's going on and some kind of say with
You
certain
just want to be like
aspects.
in the know at least about what's kind of
Whereas
going
there's
on.
people, but that would never lead me to be like, I know people like this. They'll be an actor just in the middle of rehearsal. I just had a suggestion. But like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Like like maybe, once a week. If you have rehearsed 3 times a week. Okay, if you're once a week is even a lot.
3 times in an hour?
But when,
Yeah,
there is
really.
literally people that it's
Yeah.
just constant. I have a suggestion.
Or not even,
Or not even a
I have a
suggestion.
suggestion. Just flat
instead
out.
we should
I
do
think they
this.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like counter offer, how about now?
Those are the people that I'm like, you don't want to be in control at all. You just want this is your time to shine right now.
Yeah.
This
You
is
just want
your,
people
like,
looking at you.
Yeah,
Which
everyone
is
look
She
at me,
wants-
I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm
they
better than the
want
director.
everyone to look at them and go, damn, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
Even-
We'll do that. Wow.
Even outside of a creative environment, like in work environments, there's people like this too.
Oh, yeah.
That just always need to be the first one to complain to something to the boss.
It's the stereotypical like teacher's pet kind of stereotype.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
the
it's
first
the
per-
exact opposite.
Did you mark our homework? No, someone shoot that person.
Like sometimes it can work in school, but like then
Yeah.
there's these people that never grow out of it and they get into the
Yeah.
like I hate the term real world, but okay, they get into like adult situations.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, sorry, that doesn't fly anymore. Like you can't just be interrupting everyone. You can't like okay,
Yeah.
I know that everyone should feel comfortable sharing their voice, but there's a difference of like going privately and speaking to your boss about, hey, I had this idea, versus like, hey everyone, I just wanted to share these 8 ideas I just had about how we can drastically change how all of you are garbage. We can improve this experience and show. Everyone, let's just take a seat, pull out your notepads.
Those people are gutsy because most of the time their ideas are not good.
No, they're not good at all.
And they get shut down in front of everybody. So I'm like me as like someone who doesn't like being embarrassed while also loving being on stage, which is kind of a clash, but that's fine. Like I would, if I have a suggestion for a director and it's not about my character or my scene, I will talk to them privately.
Yeah, and even then, I'm not the type of personality that would probably even do that.
Yeah.
Like, depends on the situation, right? Like, if I'm like, let's say even like I do lighting design. If I'm a lighting designer and I have a close relationship with the director, like there might be times where I might be like, hey, this might work out better for everyone. But even then, like I'm very selective about that. But as an actor, just like being a director, if it's like a note about a scene I'm in, maybe, and it was like, hey, this kind of felt weird, or hey, or like I'm offering to do something, that's different. But being like, I'm just sitting watching another scene being rehearsed and being like, yeah, actually, just with my expert opinion here, I just wanted to share. Like, that's just how it comes across to me. Like, you don't even have to say that, but like the second you just pull them aside, yeah, so I was just watching, just sitting back there, probably sitting like this. And I just have a couple notes for you. Like, that's how, no matter how they bring it up, I don't care how nice of a person you are, that's always how it's going to come across. Like, unless you have the closest relationship with that director.
Yeah.
Then it's just a weird thing.
And just kind of going back to the whole like wanting to be in charge versus wanting control. The thing is for me is like I'm the I really don't want to be in charge, you could say. Like I'm the type of person where if like someone goes, "Hey, Devon so and so and so and so, how'd that scene feel?" 99% of the time, even if I have a problem, I'll be like, "Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, so it felt good."
But deep down, you're hoping someone else will
say. And then you'll pile on.
Yeah.
Then you'll be like, actually.
But when it comes to like wanting control, you could say, I wouldn't even say, and I don't know, Noah, maybe you can relate. Like, I don't know if it's I want control. This is gonna sound really weird coming from me. I want it to be smooth and organized.
Yeah, that is weird.
That is weird.
I want it as chaotic as a person I actually am.
Yeah.
In a creative environment, a professional environment, it's something I truly care about. I want it to be smooth, organized, and easy.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing that gets in.
It's the stereotypical line that every director says, which is controlled chaos.
That's just
organized chaos.
No. That doesn't okay. Organized chaos, like what is that?
It's
chaos where one person knows what's going on. Yeah. It's just like it's chaos, but one person feels like they know what's happening.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I don't know if it's necessarily me craving wanting to be in control, because I'm totally okay with going, hey Keelan, you're in charge of blah blah blah, get the heck over there, go do it.
Yeah.
Do you? I trust your creative instincts, you just go do it. I'm okay with that. It's the fact that once things get chaotic and unorganized and then time starts getting wasted, there's no progression.
Right.
Those are the moments where I feel the need to tighten my grip and control everybody. I don't know. I don't know if that's a universal thing, because people always say, every single human craves some sort of control over what they can't control.
Mm-hmm.
But
then
that's definitely how I feel about
different people can't control different things, so it's all kind of relative to who.
We've been talking about this one question for a very long time.
Like 40.
This is like minutes. Literally one of our episodes. This is going to be our first episode where we just talk about one question.
One thing.
I don't know. I'm loving it. It's awesome.
Like I still have more thoughts I could add. I just feel bad because we were like, oh yeah, we're going to get to everyone's question today, and then we're like, we just talk about one thing.
Hey, whoever put this in, that is a good question.
Yeah, I don't know who put it in, but
as a bottom line, we would rather have collaborative creativeness rather than full creative control.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's there's so many factors into that, right? But yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely you want to be in a collaborative environment. But then I think we all have certain scenarios where it's like, okay, no, but I want to have the final say. Let's be honest.
Well, I think there's a difference between being in full creative control and also having the final say. Like, I think there's a difference. But anyway, do you think we can squeeze at least one more in?
Dictatorship, democracy.
We can try and squeeze one more in.
We can make this a little bit of a longer episode, I think, since we wasted our own time.
So this is a good question. How in God's name are all three of you such sexy bastards?
Was that submitted by
The glasses.
N_Hollinshead?
No, it actually wasn't. It was submitted by one of Devon's friends.
Probably.
I won't say jeans.
Uh-oh.
Well, I don't know. My jeans are pretty tight, and it makes my bubble butt pop. So I'd probably say it's partially the jeans.
I think Noah should change our outro music to just.
What is that? The bubble butt song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bubble butt. My response to that is thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But you are too.
Yeah, you are too. If you listen to this podcast, you must be hot, right?
Oh, smoking.
Yeah, all of our fans are smoking.
Just supermodels, all of them.
Yeah.
Was I smoking?
They better be at least. Okay.
Or what, Noah?
Want me to?
Or what?
I'll read some more comments. There's a couple.
Sure.
We got pretty much just as many comments as we did questions.
Cool.
Okay. This one is. Yeah, I'll read it. I just don't want to sound like we're just patting ourselves on the back, but okay. Absolutely love this podcast. I've gotten some much needed laughs from this, and the topics are so interesting. I want to see this podcast go viral. Thank you.
Dang.
My response to that is thank you, and I would love to see it go viral too.
Yeah, so guys, help us make this go viral. That's a good goal.
Shout out to the Dilemma Dudes fan page for already getting on that.
Yeah.
On the Google Forms, you have a spot for leaving feedback. Someone said, "I'd like to feed off your backs." So
I know exactly who that is. I
like to say that our fans have a good sense of humor, at least.
Yeah.
I know exactly who that is.
Good.
Wow. That just put a visceral image in my brain.
I'm sorry. Like you what came into my mind, and like if you're okay, so you know when a mother dog is nursing, just that on someone's back.
Oh, no. See, my brain either goes, are they eating a meal off of our backs, or are they eating our backs as a meal?
I just imagined a whole bunch of nipples on someone's back, and just a whole bunch of people going to town.
Oh boy.
This is a question, and I don't. Crunchy or spicy honey? Like, what even is that?
Okay, I know exactly who that is.
Wait, are you talking about like the
These are my
like
friends,
creamy honey that's sometimes crunchy?
What's crunchy honey?
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Okay.
Well, it's a meme.
Question. Okay.
If you
it's not a
leave
good
honey,
question.
If you leave honey, it does
sarcastic.
crystallize, so it does become.
Okay, well, let's say hypothetically.
I'm not gonna call you out by name, but S-Dog, you should feel ashamed of yourself.
Hypothetically, crunchy or spicy honey?
Crunchy.
Crunchy honey.
Crunchy.
Because that's
Honey
just like
is sweet,
that's just like little honey
spicy
treats.
honey. Though I think first we Hot Ones
you know what?
came out with
There's
the
like
spicy
honey sauces that are probably actually half decent.
Yeah.
I'll go with crunchy.
But if I'm like imagining, I'd probably still prefer crunchy honey, like honey chips or something.
That's interesting.
I could eat that all day.
Hey,
Crunchy honey
First We Feast, if you're listening, get on some spicy honey chips.
No, not spicy. Just crunchy, sweet honey chips. I'd be eating those right now. I'd be just munching on them. The podcast.
Just the whole podcast.
Can you imagine crunchy honey chips? That'd just be a horrible noise.
So
this
today,
is a question.
Noah is here, but you won't be hearing from him except from crunches. So it's just me and Devon talking for the rest.
This is a question just for me.
Of course it is.
It says, how does Noah get his muscles so toned? This definitely wasn't
This was from you,
self-submitted.
was it? This was definitely you.
No, it definitely wasn't. But I'm going to post a YouTube video about my workout regime if anyone's interested. Just be prepared.
It's just him excessively rubbing his own nipples.
Yeah.
And then that's how he just gets so toned.
Yeah. Be prepared. You gotta commit if you want to get down on my workout regime, because I don't mess around.
It's also funny because I'm pretty
Full
sure
send.
in every single video you've been wearing like baggy sweaters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, if I don't, then my secret will be out that I don't
Right.
have tone muscles.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, I just had to say that one. Pad my ego. Okay, let's do a legit question.
Okay.
Okay. Godzilla bracket 1954 involves a scientist who creates a weapon that is arguably worse than nuclear weapons. This weapon has the capability of destroying Godzilla. However, once it's been created, it can never be taken back. Should the scientist have allowed use of such a dangerous weapon, or should he have kept it away from the world? The weapon destroys oxygen in air in order to kill anything within the area. That's just a side note.
So it's kind of the same idea as like letting the genie out of the bottle, right? Like you can use this weapon for good, but once it's out there, it could be used for anything.
Yeah, it's just like in the real world too. Like when the U.S. Nuked Japan, right?
Yeah.
That, people were
Is
like,
there
"Hey, that
no-
was good. It ended the war." But now, then there was like a Cold War that followed for that because now like everyone's terrified of nukes. Still to this day,
Right.
it's just
Is
this
there no way
horrible weapon.
to destroy the weapon itself?
No, because it's like
and-
probably just
or
a
plans?
formula that just like
Yeah, it's
came
probably
out
just a
now.
formula. Like once someone comes up with it, it's never going to be gone.
See, I would if I was a scientist, I'd create it, then destroy everything. Like
Yeah.
destroy all the plans, all the formulas,
Yeah,
everything.
just nuke everyone. Yeah,
use
just
use the
destroy
gun
everything.
Well,
to
this is
destroy
less of
everything,
a nuke. It's like
and then go destroy Godzilla.
it doesn't actually doesn't just. It's not the same as a nuke because it doesn't destroy areas. It removes oxygen in an area.
So it pretty much is like instead of it like suffocates.
Yeah, so
Godzilla.
at least it doesn't. It just kills all living things, but at least it doesn't kill. It doesn't like completely decimate. Still kind of.
I don't know. Here's the thing: is I'm a firm believer that human beings are naturally pretty garbo.
I'm a firm believer of the opposite, but okay.
I shouldn't say human beings naturally are garbo. I just
a
think
sad
there's
outlook.
a lot of garbo people out
I would
there.
say naturally we are all terrible people, but we learn to be better people as we grow.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So my outlook, and this is just my cynical outlook, is I feel like a weapon that is worse than nukes is probably more dangerous in the hands of, North Korea, Russia,
They're just minding their own business.
than maybe Godzilla. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
came up with the name Godzilla?
I don't know.
It's
He's
I
a
think it's
God. He's not
it's
just
'cause-
Zilla.
No, it means something. I think it means like god of lizards or something.
No,
like that.
I think they started with Zilla. Like they sat down to the meeting. They're like, "Hey, I just wanted to create this big monster named Zilla." And then the guy's like, "That's not good enough."
They were like,
Godzilla.
Well, what if he's
'cause
Godzilla?
Yeah, he's a god. He's the best Zilla there possibly
He
is,
technically,
you idiot.
technically, the original Godzilla was part of a group of like giant monster ideas in Japanese called kaiju,
Right.
which just mean like giant monsters. Which, if you watch like Pacific Rim, terrible movies,
I liked
They-
those ones.
The first movie was good.
They were mindless
first movie was
entertainment,
okay. Second one was like, okay.
Yeah.
The same thing just happened in the second one. Okay. But they're fighting kaiju, which are giant monsters.
Right.
So the whole thing between like the big robots and kaiju are from like an old Japanese style of film, I guess.
Okay.
Or genre
So
of film.
Godzilla is a translation and amalgamation of two Japanese words that mean gorilla and whale.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah. Now here's the thing: and this is just from what I've heard from some Japanese streamers that I've watched. There's not really a lot of direct translation between Japanese and English.
Right.
So sometimes like the translations could be a little bit off. So maybe they didn't mean literally gorilla and whale. They could have meant, like super big gorilla. I don't know.
But that's
Right.
King Kong.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Godzilla's the giant lizard dude that breathes fire.
It showed pictures of the giant lizard, and it said gorilla and a whale.
Yeah.
So
Anyways,
that's the
I would
next,
say that
that's the next Sharknado movie is Gorilla Whale.
Gorilla whales.
Gorilla Whale versus Sharknado.
I would
watch
go
it.
back to I would say I disagreed with Devon's statement that most humans are inherently bad. Because I think there's a difference of all of us being like garbage human beings. Like, yeah, I think mean things about another person compared to like, yeah, I want to blow up an entire city. You
Right.
know, like there's a difference.
Here's the thing.
There's a pretty big space between that.
I shouldn't have said inherently bad.
The really, really bad people, because the really, really bad people get a lot of attention, because that's just what happens.
I shouldn't have said inherently bad. I should have said inherently self-centered.
Yeah.
Because that's what I actually think. And when someone's self-centered, like, let's be honest. Let's say I stumbled across these formulas for this nuclear weapon. I'd go, hey, Canada, we should take these. I wouldn't go, hey, Britain. I wouldn't go, hey, Spain. So when you get something like that out there,
yeah, I think everyone would take it because they're like, oh, I would burn it, but then just in case another country wants to use it, I want to make sure I have it.
Well, that's
Exactly,
what happened
and-
with nuclear warfare.
Exactly. They were all like, we should probably get rid of this, but I don't trust these other countries. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
then
and
the other
inevitably,
countries
that
were like,
I think the not so nice guys will inevitably get it.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
that's more dangerous than actually Godzilla.
Yeah, I was gonna say
around.
I agree that we should probably just not invent this thing at all. But I didn't just for that small 0.001% of people that can make a big difference, ruining it for everyone. But I'd say most people wouldn't take this and be like, yeah, now it's my time to destroy a city or something. Like there's a big level of like, yeah,
I don't know. I'd hold the world hostage. I
yeah,
know I
like
would.
human nature. Most humans can think pretty garbage things and do garbage things pretty easily here and there.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference between that and like, but at the same time, like but not every human would just murder a baby, you know? Like that's what I was trying to say. Like,
Oh my goodness.
like yeah, okay, we're all bad people, but not like that bad.
Hey man, there's a difference between stealing a parking spot and killing a kid. Okay.
Exactly. Like every human will steal a parking spot to get closer to the store, even if they see like a.
Except moms for some reason.
Yeah.
Moms always seem to park the farthest way from
I think
the
that's just
store.
partially because they're scared to like, I don't know. Like I know I have an uncle that will park a mile away in his truck because he doesn't want anyone to hit it. So he just parks away at the back of the parking
See, that
lot.
I understand, but we drive a crappy Mazda 5. And my
and
mom will
just
still drive
insists
in.
on-
She'll drive by the entrance. And I'll be like, oh, there's a parking spot. And she'll be like, yeah, it's fine. And then drive to like the back of the parking lot and park.
I feel like that's just a
Just
weird
getting
habit.
her steps in. Just getting her
Just
steps
getting her
in.
steps in.
I guess that's probably, I don't know, that's good of her, I guess. But at the same time, if she starts driving by like 8 spots, then I'm like, okay, this is just weird now.
It's usually like 8 spots.
Yeah. Like I get that if you're trying to save some spots for some old people, but like once you get to like 8 of them,
Yeah.
you know, eventually you got to think.
I mean, I guess further away you have a guaranteed spot.
Yeah.
Like there's guaranteed to be opening.
That's
but-
true.
I'll just zoom into those parking spots. I'll be like, move over, Grandma.
In the summer, I don't mind going for a walk, but in the winter, I'm getting as close as I can to
Oh
the door.
yeah.
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 Noah's driving through the front doors, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going like curbside.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say
He somehow
it's a
turned
pandemic, it's
Zayres
curbside
into a
pickup.
drive-through.
yeah.
Oh,
Anyways,
man.
yeah, that's that. There's one more question that we were given, directly, but I think we can talk about it in another episode. Sage, if you're
let's wait until
listening,
next week.
we talked about this. We talked about this question. Devin, Sage, and I were on a Discord call, and then this thing came up, and we all kind of jumped onto it. But it was his initial idea. I'm just letting him know that we're gonna get to it.
Next
But
week.
as for the sake of time, I don't want us to have to rush through because my camera, it already ran out of storage space once. That's why I had to fix it, and now I'm getting on to 13
same.
minutes left. So I don't want to push it too much.
Yeah.
I don't want it to cut out in the middle of some thrilling conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
submit us more fan questions anytime. We'll post stuff on Instagram when we really want to know stuff, but anytime, like send stuff anytime, and we'll bring
Yeah,
it back.
don't wait for us to prompt some questions. Like DM us on Instagram if you can't get a hold of the Google submission form.
Yeah.
And honestly, they don't have to be like world-changing dilemmas. Just be like, hey, I don't know why I'm going back to parking spaces, but hey, I was at Zayre's and Bob Joe was gonna snag my parking spot, and I got really angry, and I dove in there before him. What would you do? Like, just give us like real world situations,
Exactly.
of like what happened to you in your daily life. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found.
And then we'll probably expose you.
I was telling the guys the other day that I found a Reddit thread full of moral dilemmas and would you rather's, but they were like people's real life situations. So I think that's, unless anything else. Sorry, that's disgusting. Unless anything else comes up.
No, it just throws up on.
Yeah. Unless anything else comes up for next week, we'll probably talk about some real life Reddit people's moral dilemmas.
Heck yeah.
Which I was reading some and they were like serious things. There's like advice, which I don't know. That's kind of fun.
Oh my goodness.
Again,
we should
we're
just
not an
just direct them to this
podcast.
I know. I was trying to be like, hey guys, we got a whole podcast for this.
We should start a Reddit, like a Reddit thread.
Yeah, we should actually, because Reddit's like more anonymous, so people might dig that.
Well, give
Google
us
Forms is
suggestions
anonymous.
for Reddit names if we'd want to just stick to Dilemma Dudes, or if you have some fun names, give us ideas.
I'll be honest. Anytime I hop on Reddit, I'm just genuinely confused.
It is it's set up very confusing.
It's so weird, and
it's
I'm
not
like,
that bad.
I was like posting our podcast on some of the forums because I was like, oh, people are into dilemmas. They want to know about our podcasts, and like I was just so confused the whole time I was posting. It's like, okay, you're allowed to do this, this, and this, and then it was like all this lingo that I just didn't understand. Like I just felt like I was reading like codes.
Yeah,
it's just a weird universe.
This or S/this or U/this.
But I'm kind of thinking I want to get Reddit. Whenever I read Reddit stuff, people are so smart.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah. Well, compared to like Facebook and Instagram, where it's just the dumb. Okay, Instagram's
like,
in between, but Facebook, just the dumbest people comment, and like they don't do any research. Whereas Reddit, you're like, someone's like, yeah, so my toaster's broken. Does anyone happen to know? Like, oh, right, I just looked up your model number.
I went to school for fixing toasters.
Yeah.
And then I looked up your model number, and your S coil could be
I actually went up and
picked
picked up one from Walmart for you and did a little experimenting on it myself, and I just wanted to like legit. This is real life things. Like I was looking for computer parts, and there was like a whole thread of like people that buy different parts and test to see if they work with like not just any computer, with the exact model of computer that I wanted. There was thousands and thousands of posts on this thread. Like, if you haven't used Reddit, guys, that's the most useful social. I just want to cut out everything else, because anything I could possibly need is on there. There's hilarious stuff. Like, people are so funny on there. Like, there's still some people that are not funny and like dumb and annoying, but for the most part, it's great.
I use Reddit for all of my D&D homebrew and stuff.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I got into Reddit a while ago. Like, I downloaded it and I just gave the same speech. I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of Facebook, Instagram. I don't need anything. But then I didn't do that. But I'm kind of concerned. The only thing about Reddit is like it's a little bit less personal because you like don't have your friends on it and stuff.
Right.
But when it comes to getting information, I think it's a much better place to go. To me, it's like 100%. It's like listening to a podcast but in written form, because people like have full on, nice, well thought out conversation.
And then you find that one person that's just an absolute troll, and you're like,
yeah, exactly.
Cool. But see, the thing is about Reddit is as soon as someone comments something trolly, everybody who ever commented rips them to pieces.
And you can like downvote and upvote stuff, right? So if someone's trolling, you can just downvote it and then no one will see it, right? Is that how it works? This is what pretty much. Know. Whereas when you upvote, everyone was going to see the post.
Right.
Yeah. That's why if you go into like if you're looking for recent stuff, you have to manually filter it to recent, because it's always on the most upvoted thing.
Yeah. Anyways.
See, that makes so much sense. I didn't know that.
Reddit.
Yeah, so if you go to a page, you'll see the same thing over and over again because it's the most upvoted thing. It'll be 8 years old. You want to go to recent.
Right. Reddit, anyways, Reddit's genius. Stuff. We're going to start using it for moral dilemmas, because we were talking about we're running out of moral dilemmas, and then I found this Reddit thread. We're never going to run out, guys. It's like insane. There's like hundreds posted a day.
Awesome.
Jeez.
And they're so like real life. Like one was like a guy. Anyways, we'll talk about it, but guy like looking for like dating advice, which guys, we're experts on this, right? So
well, as a guy with glasses, I know a little bit about the unique species called a female.
Oh no.
Anyways, guys, thank you for listening, and I know we didn't talk about, it wasn't quite as funny and thrilling of a conversation today. It was a bit more serious, but I thought it was
in depth.
very interesting.
I thought it was very
Good
interesting.
episode. Good
Yeah.
episode.
Good episode.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram. We got our Dilemma Dudes on Instagram as well as Yikes Comedy on Instagram.
Yeah. You can find each of us
and
individually
you've
on
all heard the
Instagram.
spiel before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bad
I think
Boy
we're all.
Wonder
Let's be
_
honest. I think
3.
we're all on those.
Yeah, you'll find us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, if don't take our advice, but if you do, let us know, and we'll see you next week. That was official.
Bye.
That was good.
Yeah. Bye.